Welcome to a flow class, the 8th part of God's great promises. And today, a little bit weird promise. Let me just read. You can sit down on the mat, close your eyes, and all of that, and just listen in for a short verse here. Romans 1. For since creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, has been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, has been clearly seen. So the promise here is that God's nature is visible to everybody. It's not just for those who have the capacity to believe or are strong enough to believe or are brought up in a Christian family. God's nature is visible everywhere, if we dare to look. That's a bit provocative, maybe. Maybe some think it's weird. Maybe you think, yes, I see some of God's beauty, for example, in nature. Maybe let me dive into that a little bit more. So today on the mat, on this flow class, we will move and breathe. Maybe celebrating that God is visible. God is here. No matter what I believe, it's all about saying, I want to believe. So maybe you take your hands here at your chest. Sit tall, close your eyes. And we're touching our chest, and actually this represents our heart. So if you dare, maybe doubt your doubt. If you have if you find it hard to believe, maybe say, God, I want to believe in my heart. My brain cannot really grasp it all. Help me, God, to trust you in my heart. Let go of the hands. Your hands can find the floor on each side of you. And then sway from side to side, a little bit forward folded. So a couple of somewhat free movements here that feels good for your back and your shoulders, neck. So if God really is visible, then how come there are people who choose not to believe? That's a good question, and more theoretical than I can make do here on the mat. But if you have that question, bring it to some people. I'm sure there are some, answers, but some things to say about it at least. I know I have some things in my mind, but I'll leave it at that right now. Fold your hands, let your palms reach up. So really lengthening. Engage your abs and move a little bit from side to side gently. Though we're not warmed up, then we want to be careful with our beautifully mated spine. And let go. On the mat, down dog. So step your feet back and pedal your feet. If you want to use the Ujjayi breath just for a little bit of fun and rhythm in your class, you can engage that snoring sound on your exhale. And I'll guide you through a sequence I'll repeat a few times. You are always welcome to put on some music, especially when we're just repeating some sequences.
Walk your feet to the front of the mat. Hip width distance and fold forward. Make sure you're bent in your knees if you like. Take a hold of your elbows and sway from side to side. Bend further down in your knees, let go of your elbows, and then stand up, mountain pose. Hands up against the ceiling or at God's amazing sky. Lean to your left side. Back into high mountain. Arms out to the side as you fold forward. Forehead relaxes. Lift your right leg off the mat and step your foot back. We're going to go into high lunge in just a moment. Bend the front knee so it's aligned with the ankle. Look to the front end of the mat and maybe make sure that the back heel is lifted off the mat. See if you can find balance. It's always a little bit difficult the first time. High lunge. Shoulders down. Lean forward, throwing your arms out to the side. This is one of my favorite warm-up sequences. And then again, high lunge. Rotate the back foot around, and guess what? Warrior 2. Shorten or widen the distance in between your legs. And lean down, shoulders away. Reverse your warrior, palms of the front hand lean up, and then you move back. Make sure you bend the front knee as you lean back. Both palms down on the mat, heel off the mat, the back heel, step back, downward facing dog. And let's do a vinyasa. Inhale, plank. Move your shoulders a little bit further than your hands and lower down on your knees or toes. Inhale, lifting your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath, adjusting your stance. And then again to the top of the mat, jumping or walking. Fold forward. High mountain. Arms all the way to the sky, and then lean to your right side. Avoid leaning back. Straight spine, high mountain. Forward fold. Make sure you relax your neck as you move into your forward fold. Your left leg moves back this time. Hip width distance in between the feet. Look to the front of the mat and let go of the floor as you lift your arms up. Notice where your shoulders are. If they need to come further down, go ahead and do that. Navel in as you take your arms out to the side like an airplane. Lean in. Core on the inside of the thigh. Again, high lunge. Warrior 2, turn the back foot. Notice how it feels in your knees and your hip when you do that. We don't want to injure ourselves. Reversed warrior, palm up. Reach back, maybe looking down towards the back foot, noticing if that leg is firmly that foot is firmly on the mat. Finding our down dog, but taking the time. Again, vinyasa, inhale, plank. Slowly exhale, elbows by our ribs as we lower down. Inhale, cobra, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe. Again, to the front of the mat. And then we repeat this more with the breath. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, high mountain. And if it doesn't fit with your breath, don't you worry. Exhale to your left side. Inhale, arms up. Exhaling, forward fold. Slowly and gently. Inhale, half lift. Right leg moves back. Exhale, lower the toes down. Bend the front knee. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, lean forward. Inhaling, preparing our warrior 2. Turning the back foot. Exhaling, finding warrior two. Reversing on our inhale and kind of getting there on the exhale. Preparing our down dog on the inhale. Exhaling, getting in the down dog position. Optional vinyasa, inhale, plank. Navel in as you lower down, exhale. Inhale, cobra, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One breath. Also to catch up if you're a little bit slower than I am here. Jump or walk to the top of the mat. Typically on an inhale. Exhale, lean forward. Inhale, high mountain. Side bend, left, right side. Exhale. Inhale, high mountain. Exhaling, move forward. Maybe closing your eyes here. You know what to do now. Inhale, half lift, left foot moves back. Exhaling, gently move it back and down. Inhale, high lunge. Exhaling, forward. Inhaling, preparing warrior two. Exhaling, creating length through the fingers and the arms. Inhale, reversed warrior. Exhale, lean back, bend the front knee. Inhale, preparing your plank. Exhale, down dog. Or preparing your down dog. Optional vinyasa, inhale to your plank. Exhale, lower down. Take it slowly if you can. Cobra, up dog, inhale. Inhale, downward facing dog. Again, one breath. One last time through. Inhale to the front. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale to your left side, side stretch. Inhale, high mountain. Exhaling, moving forward. Try to move slowly. In Him we live and breathe. Inhale, half lift, right leg moves up and back. Lower it down, exhale. High lunge, inhale. Navel in as you dive deep down here, bowing down. Inhale, warrior two. Sink low. Reversed warrior. Lean back, your body on a straight line here. Preparing your down dog. Getting to down dog. Vinyasa, inhale. Exhaling, moving down. Cobra, up dog, inhale. Down dog. Again, take a breath. Moving to the front, yet again. Fold forward. Last time through, high mountain. Side stretch to your right side. Leaning to the middle. And move forward. Slowly. Half lift, left foot this time. Back. High lunge. Leaning forward. Preparing warrior two. Getting there. Reversed warrior. In forward. Finding your down dog. Vinyasa, inhale. Exhaling, moving down. Cobra, up dog. And then child's pose for just a second. Your buttocks move towards your heel, forehead on the mat. One of the lovely wonders is that one of the most quoted verses in the Bible actually is not
It's not biblical. Or it was said by some poets back in the day. So it's from Acts. It says, in him we live and breathe. Let me just quote it right. It says, for in him we live and move and have our being. It says before that God reaches out, and he's not far from each and every one of us. This is also what Paul is saying. So maybe we just need to look in the right direction. Spread out your fingers again, finding down dog. Let your heels sink as low as you think they can today without killing the back here of your ankles and your back of your legs. Let's do a new sequence, and then we'll put these two parts together, the warming up sequence and this second part. Inhale, right leg moves up, and then open up your hip while bending your knee. Let your heel sink towards the glute. And maybe this time look underneath your right armpit. Engage your root lock and close your hip. Take your knee underneath your belly and move it out to your left side. Just the foot out there. Turn the back foot around, lifting left hand up into your side plank. Both hands down on the mat again. Lift right leg up and back, three-legged dog. Before you step it to the top of the mat. High lunge, yet again. Maybe shaking your wrist a little bit. And let's see if we can go for airplane from this one. Slowly lean forward, seeing if you can find balance on your right leg. Lift up left, flexing your foot, arms out to the side. Slowly move into a sort of mountain pose, but still with your left leg off the mat. Cross it above, finding eagle pose. Either just crossing one time or two times a rapid, so that's up to you. Prayer pose with our hands in front of your chest. Sinking low. See if you can keep your balance. If you want to help yourself, you can take your hands out to the side. If not, let go of the foot. Right leg, still keeping the balance. Left foot moves back. Version of Warrior 3 with our hands in prayer pose. Stretch both legs. Breathe. And if you want to have your fingers down on the mat here, you can do that. If not, just lower down the foot again into your high lunge. Let go of your hands. Palms meet on top of your head and then move into a back bend, opening up your chest. Mindful that your lower back is okay with this. Letting go. Both hands on the mat, step back, down dog. Hip width distance in between your feet. And maybe you move a little bit freely here. God, we move and breathe, have our being. Everybody. I hope it's okay I'm saying that. You might not believe it, but I hope it's okay. Left leg, doing the sequence on the other side. Bend the knee, lift your knee up towards the sky. And maybe take a look at the foot on the ground. The foot and the toes are still aligned with the long end of the mat. Look underneath your armpit if you like. If it's not good for your shoulders, just square them off as you would in a regular down dog. Closing your hip. A little bit more to plank as you take the knee underneath your belly. Scooch it out to the side, side plank. Remember to move the back foot around there so that the feet or the toes are pointing towards your right side. Both hands again down.
Step your left foot up and back, and then to the top of the mat. Letting go of the floor when you're ready. You know we're gonna get into some fun balance poses now. To help this balance pose a little bit, you might take the back foot just a little bit closer. It's just easier to kind of lift up in your airplane, taking your time. There's no rush. Sometimes, or at least I wish sometimes that I would have the answers right now. See if you can keep your balance. This is the eagle legs at least. Crossing, right leg on top once or twice. Squeezing the inner thighs together. And bend down on your knees. You cannot wrap your legs around if you're not down on your knees. Or not on your knees, but down, bending your knees. Engage your shoulder blades by squeezing the palms together. Let go of the foot there. Slowly move it back. Warrior 3. Or again, your airplane if you prefer. See if you can keep your balance as you lower your foot down. Maybe getting a little bit out of breath here. It's a hard sequence, I know. High lunge. Palms together. Maybe you point your pointy finger. Leaning back. If it's hard to keep the balance, just look at the ground. And you are there. Let go. Down dog. Shake it out. Before we repeat the sequences, we'll do a little bit of strengthening for our back. So move to plank. And lower down on your belly. Now we have some tiny muscles that help us stabilize our shoulder blades and our shoulder girdle. So let's engage those. Hands on the ground and palms facing up. Then rotate your shoulders a little bit back. So actually your pinky finger kind of rotates. And your thumb is the higher point. Then lifting your chest off the mat. It's pretty important you don't lift your shoulders up here. You're just moving, rotating your shoulders back. And maybe you'll lift your legs off the mat. Smile and breathe. Squeeze firmly behind the shoulder blades. Letting go. Stacking your hands forehead on the mat or the hands. Hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes. Down dog. Starting the first sequence we did on the top of the mat and then continue. So jump or walk to the top of the mat. Fold forward. High mountain. Side bend to your left side. Exhale. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, right leg up and down as you exhale. Inhale, high lunge. Ready to lean forward, arms out to the side. Exhale. Inhale, warrior 2. Your body remembers these poses, right? Reversed warrior, inhale. Exhale, move back. Inhale, getting into your down dog. Exhale, really stepping it back. Optional vinyasa, just stay here if you don't want to do more. Inhale, plank. This is a vinyasa. Exhale, lower down. Cobra up dog, inhale. And down dog. One breath. Second sequence. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, open up your hip, maybe more than the first time. Take one breath here. Closing the hip, inhale. And foot out to the side. Exhale as you lift up in your side plank. One breath. Both hands on the mat. Peel the heels off. Right leg up. And then to the top of the mat. High lunge, yet again. This pose we visit quite a lot. And then the airplane. Slowly lean forward, navel in, gaze on the ground. Stretch your legs, extend the back leg. Not noticing that you're lifting all that you can, but more extending to the back. See if you can keep your balance in our eagle pose. Right leg on top, crossing once or twice around. Prayer pose with our hands. Unwrapping. See if you keep your balance. Warrior 3 with prayer pose, hands. And then we'll just step to the top of the mat. Inhale, rise your arms up. Inhale again. Exhale, lean to your right side. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, forward fold. This time, left leg. Lift it up and back. High lunge. Lean forward. Engage your core as you lean forward. Inhale, prepare your warrior 2. Exhaling, sinking low, heels somewhat aligned. Reverse warrior, inhale. And move back as you exhale. Inhaling, finding your down dog, or preparing it at least. Exhale as you step back. As before, optional vinyasa. If you do it, plank is on your inhale. Lower down. Lifting your chest down. You're getting really warm, so lift up high. Down dog. One breath. Left leg, lift. Bend the knee, open up your hip. One breath here. Closing your hip. Side plank. The left foot out to your right side. Move the back foot around. Lifting through the shoulder girdle. Hands on the mats. Back heel off, right leg stays on the mat, but left moves up and then to the top end of the mat. High lunge. Airplane, remember, take the back foot a little bit closer. And from here, use the quads here, the thigh, to lift up. Strong core is important when we move in our balance poses. See if you can stay in your balance somewhat as you move into your eagle position with the legs. Of course, right leg crosses on top. And unwrap again. Right leg moves back, lots of balance. Remember to breathe. Lower down. This time not at the back or the front of the mat. This time at the back end of the mat. Down dog. Child's pose. Distance in between your knees. Hip moves back. And I'll advise you to take your arms down by your legs. If you're not a strong believer, and try just to imagine what it would be like if God was actually visible with all the things that you might think is just a coincidence is not so. That the world is not made by accident, by murder and survival of the fittest. But it's designed by a loving God. Move your hands again to the top end of the mat. Tabletop position. Toenails on the ground and knees and hip somewhat aligned. And we're just going to do a very simple pose here, the cat pose. So tuck your pelvis, your hip underneath yourself. So you're trying to shorten the distance in between your nose and your pelvis. And letting go. Threading the needle. Left arm, reach it up. And then nails on the mat here and out on the floor as you move your left shoulder down on the mat. You can look to your left side, and this right hand can actually kind of move the top shoulder a little bit up, further up, and try not to avoid moving your hip out of alignment with your knees. You might feel a stretch on your left shoulder. Maybe it's not that deep. Let go. Always do on the other side what we did on the first side, so exactly the same. Just right shoulder on the mat, pushing the top shoulder a little bit up by the force of your right or your left arm. Relax your shoulder, the one that's stretching. Let go. A version of the lizard pose. It's not exactly a lizard pose, but more into the inner groins. Right leg to the top of the mat. Align ankle and knee. Then I would advise you take your right hand out a little bit distance from the front foot, so there is space for you to take your hand here and move your left knee out. Still hip moving to the front. The sole of the foot is out of the mat. I'm on the outer edge of my right foot here. So there is a movement with my hip towards this direction and a movement of my thigh here out. Put your leg back, sole of the foot there on the mat, and then move back for a stretch, runner's stretch, I believe it's called. Lean forward, avoid hyperextending the knee here, and use blocks if the floor can't be reached with your hands. Letting go. Preparing yourself for the same stretches just on the other side. If you don't want to fold your mat, just take a blanket or a pillow, whatever you might have nearby. Okay, distance in between foot and hand here. I like that because then it gives me more space to move my hip as much down as my hip allows me to. And push this left knee joint out to the side for stretch of the inner thighs. Notice if you hyperextend this elbow, it's always good to microbend. return back. Hands here on the inside of the foot, at least to begin with. Hip moves back. If you want to sit on the back heel there, that's an option as well. So go ahead and do what makes you enjoy this stretch the most. And this is, of course, stretching of the calves and the hamstrings on this front leg. Now we want to lean forward with our chest leading, so we don't round the back. The more we kind of move the chest to the front, the pelvis also moves to the front. It actually gives a deeper stretch, but you might also feel it a little bit on your lower back. So let's just stretch all that we can now that we're here. That is it. Come down on the mat. And I'll just give you 1 minute of silence after you've hucked your knees in. So God's promise that He is visible. I'm not saying that people are stupid if they can't find God. Not at all. That's not the point. But more that I think sometimes we make it so hard for ourselves because we want to logically understand something that's not all logically explained, or we're not able to explain or understand with our logic. I mean, would God be God if we understood just as much of who He is or was or are? I mean, that would make us gods. And I think that would be a sad world. At least if I was a god. Whoa. Okay, let go. Rest down and just listen in. For in Him, in God, we live, we move, we have our being. So as we began, you might want to focus on your heart and saying, okay, I don't know where you are, God, but you promised that you're visible, so show me. So maybe that's your prayer or your intention for 1 silent minute. One minute is already up. I hope you know that you can stay on the mat if you like. But if you're done, small movements in fingers and toes, and then you might want to stretch. Take your arms above your head. Slowly open up your eyes. Roll on to the side and there into seated pose. So maybe today, when you move outside,
Take a look at the grass, a flower, the sky, and maybe think, God is visible here. What does that give you of a feeling? What does that make you think? If God really is visible in us, where we live, where we breathe, and where we move. I pray that God will bless you and keep you safe. Thank you so much for joining. And of course, it would be lovely if you would subscribe and share this channel with people around you.